Hello everybody, Van Nomad here. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about my plan for my wiring in this cargo van conversion. And now that I have the layout in a sort of a rough draft form, refrigerator will be over here on top of the power station. But now that I have a general idea of where everything's going to be, I can get more serious about the wiring and then the installation. And my plan for the wiring is very basic, and it all starts here at the power station. The access points for my electricity will be here at the battery bank, and then going from the battery bank with alternating current. Right now it's roughed in and it kind of goes up and over and it comes out right here. So this is going to be where the other access point is, but I think I will put a box right here. But we'll see. I might end up just plugging it in the way it is now. And it's pretty silly to go from direct current to alternating current and then back to direct current. But it's sort of convenient, and I don't expect there to be a lot of power draw at this point. On the other side of the bed, towards the back of the van, we're going to have direct current running from here. And I think I will just use it from this port to go from here. And that will go behind the dresser, and it's going to come out somewhere around here. And what I'm going to put here, I'm either going to remove this, I think I will remove this and wire it into a marine style direct current outlet that will have an accessory plug like this, and it will also have a DC, we'll also have a USB and a USB-C, and that will go right there. And that's really only going to be for the electric blanket and probably a light. It'll probably be a USB light on this side. Maybe I'll charge a phone here, but on this side it's only going to be direct current. There won't be an alternating current circuit running to this side of the back. In my test trips, in the White Shadow, I realized that it would really be nice to have some kind of power outside of the van without having any doors open. I think he's ready to go for a hike. On the outside of the van, it would be really nice to have alternating current receptacle. And I thought a little about how I can do this and still have sort of stealth. If I have a bunch of ports and outlets on the outside of the van, it's really clear that it's a conversion, and I don't want that. So I thought, well, maybe I could use this spot here on the inside of the van. Maybe I can somehow put a port on that side, and then I can plug in with an extension cord underneath. And I discovered that that's really not going to be feasible, and it's not very convenient either. Putting it on the side of the van coming out is not what I want to do, just because I want to maintain the stealth appearance of this conversion. And I got the inspiration for the final location when I was putting in the wiring behind this access panel here. I was putting in the wiring for the wiring for the trailer hitch. So the wiring from the trailer hitch goes from the battery under the driver's seat up to that chase that goes at a 45-degree angle, and there's a little black wire in there that comes down here and connects to the lighting assembly behind this panel, and also the lighting assembly behind on the passenger side, so that the blinkers on the trailer know what to do. Oh, there you can see a little bit of one of the attachments through that little hole there. And to put the wiring to the trailer, go behind the bumper. Let's see, there it is. And there's this little plastic panel right here that pops out. And coming through there is the 4-part wiring that goes to the little trailer attachment. I'll just tuck that away when I'm not using it. And I thought, well, there's the same thing on the opposite side. Looking at the passenger side of the van, and it has the same access point with a little plastic cover, and what's coming out of it now is from the van's previous life as a delivery vehicle. This wire comes out. This is part of the backup assist system, which is not connected to anything any longer. And it took me a lot of time and research to figure out what exactly this was supposed to be doing. Somebody told me that it was part of the trailer lighting, and I might not need to install anything, but that was incorrect. Now that this backup assist wiring is no longer in use, I'm going to hopefully tuck that away, and what's going to be accessible through this hole instead is going to be my outlet. So it makes sense to me to have the power on this side of the van, and if I have it tucked away there under the bumper where the other lighting assembly was, it's not going to be very noticeable. And this way, on this side of the van, when I'm outside of the van, I could attach a cooktop or a little leaf blower or some lights even to the campsite, and hopefully it'll be fairly convenient. To run the power from the power station to my outdoor access, I decided it would make sense to get a very beefy cable, because I calculated it's going to go about 35 feet to go from the power station all the way up and over, and then behind that black plastic and down to my access point. I thought about using the regular wiring that I have on hand, the house wiring, and it's true that that is appropriate for a 15 amp circuit, but I thought maybe this would be better. This is 12 gauge, so it's heavier, and it's also supposed to be very durable and very flexible. And I thought, well, maybe this is going to be better than the regular house wiring with a receptacle added to the end, and maybe it'll handle the jostling and the rubbing and stuff that goes along with being inside of a van compartment. And we're going to try this. I'm going to try to fish this through and figure out how it can be accessible at that rear bumper on the passenger side. The package says extra durable and extra flexible, and it has this locking mechanism, I guess, so that whatever you have plugged in stays plugged in. Whether this will be retained or whether I'm going to replace this with something else, we'll see. I'll certainly want to cover this. If I'm ever worried about it being moisture and getting in there, I can always disconnect it at the source. If I do want to shorten the wire and reduce the resistance, probably this is the end that will get removed, and I can replace it, a few feet closer. I can already see that this is going to be where the problem faces me. I can't really get that through that hole. You can see the wire there for the trailer lighting, the power for the trailer lighting. That's going to be hard to get through. I might want to make it easier on myself right now and remove the male side of this wire. So now I've removed the side panel on the rear passenger side, and I'm going to see if I can lower this down behind the taillight wiring and get it to come out that that access point I showed earlier. Now I'd like to save this, but if it has to come off, it has to come off. I can put something else on here. hopefully I'll be able to see. I'll be able to see that female end coming out. Okay, that was fairly easy. It drops straight down from that access for the taillights. There's really nothing in the way, so that's kind of what I was worried about. Now I just got to get the power through the cabin, and I'll replace this cover thing, and I might just cut this backup stuff. I might just cut this out of the picture. We'll see if I can make it tidy and leave it intact. So far so good. I am glad that I bought this cord. It's not cheap to buy that kind, but it is much more flexible, and I'm not quite so nervous about it rubbing on things and exposing it. So I have it coming up from the outside, and I've got it across here, and I'm feeding it from this point now, and I'm to about probably right behind there. So I think it will work. The biggest question is this little point that I identified earlier. That's going to be either I'm going to bend that, or I'm just going to have to take off the male end and replace it. Well, I was able to bend that a little bit, and that might be all that I need to get that male end through that. Let's say I'm home free now. I've got it all the way to here. So it can be done. You can run an extension cord from behind your driver's seat all the way to the opposite end to come out on the rear bumper on the passenger side. And it's a good thing I'm doing this now, because once I start stuffing insulation into all these cavities, it will be too late to put in any more circuits. Now the part that I had to bend a little bit, that looks a little janky, so I probably will be putting some extra protection around the cord at that point. And there we go. Now this was a 50-foot extension cord, and I certainly have a lot of extra. I have some extra here, and I have some extra tucked in right there. And I may remove the male side anyway, just to remove some of this excess wire. But it works, it's in. When the time comes, I will have power coming out of the van on the outside where I want it.